So Austin had this question about his pouches. He says, I've got these pouches, and we know these are MOLLE pouches. They're mounted on a belt. It's not perfect, but anytime you're using these pouches that have this elastic band, little closure thing, he says, I'm having trouble getting the magazines back into the pouch. How do I do this? How do I help myself here? And so basically, for you guys, if you're setting up your equipment, there's a few considerations. First of all, MOLLE pouches should be mounted on MOLLE. If you mount it on your belt, they're going to be floppy. The second thing is, getting the magazine out is a very important thing. Getting the magazine back in is administrative, it's not so important. So he says, I'm struggling because these elastic thingies are getting in the way. Can you show that, Ron? Right, so the elastic thingamajigs are getting in the way, and I can't get my magazine down in the pouch. How do I do this? How do I put it in? And so this is actually the same procedure for getting the pistol in a tight holster, like a leather holster that collapses. You take the front corner of the magazine, you put the front corner of the magazine into the pouch like this, and then you wiggle until the thing clears out of the way. From his angle, he's going to grab onto it, he's going to wipe backwards into the front corner,
put some
into the pouch.
on it.
Right there, he's going to wiggle until it clears the elastic and then drive it in. Okay, so let's try that again. So from his angle, coming back to the pouch, he's going to come from the front. He'll take the corner of the pouch and push the elastic to the rear and wiggle this until it rocks inwards. It's exactly the same technique for holstering pistol. For a pistol, you take your spirit gun, you take the dust cover on the bottom, put it into the holster, wiggle like this to get the holster to open up, and then rock it forward. It's the exact same technique. All right, so now when it comes to putting the elastic on, you just lift up and drop it, but it has to be mounted properly, right? So if it's not mounted properly, it's no good. So part of this is a software issue, part of this is a hardware issue, right? Anyways, then people will say, well, don't buy pouches that have these elastics. That's making the assumption that you really need to get to it really fast. But to be honest, if you have 30 rounds in your rifle and you need another 30 rounds in your rifle, that's a pretty low likelihood, right? Greater likelihood that you have 30 rounds in your rifle, you'll fix it, the problem right now, and then you have time to get it out. Now, that's an assumption. You don't always have the assumption. But the other assumption we have to keep in mind is that you're going to be walking around. If you need your rifle, you might be walking around for a long period of time before you need your magazines. So we don't want to be losing our gear on the side of the highway, right? So then some people will build these pouches like these, and they're really nice, to get out, and you can just stretch them right in. Even with the magazines too hard, you just put it right in. And then some people will struggle and they say, well, I live in California and I got these little tiny magazines. Okay, so how do you do this? You take yourself a sock. You put your sock in the bottom of the magazine pouch. You put your magazine on top of the sock. Ta-da!
Boom, and you got spare socks.
And you got spare socks, right?
Yeah.
All right. So that's how we work these kind of open top pouches. Okay. That's how you get at it. Now, you can notice that if you're wearing gloves, it's hard to get to these. So what you do is you build a Magpul. What is a traditional Magpul? Before the company Magpul, what's a Magpul?
It's a Magpul.
550 cord. 550 cord, a loop, like a 4-inch long loop of 550 cord, and then you duct tape the bottom of the magazine. The other thing is these magazines are really sharp and they tend to cut you, or they cut your gun, or they cut your gear, and they beat you up. So you put duct tape around the bottom of your magazine with 550 cord coming out. So that way, when you need to get it, you just yank on the cord of the magazine, and the magazine comes out. Later on, the company Magpul built a product called the Magpul, right? But this started as duct tape and paracord. Does that make sense?